Huang-Po number 7. Question. You yourself are a member of the Sangha now, obviously engaged in preaching the Dharma. Then how can you declare that neither of them exists? The answer. If you suppose there is a Dharma to be preached, you will naturally ask me to expound it. But if you postulate a me, though, that implies spatial unity, or entity, a spatial entity. The Dharma is no Dharma, it is mind. Therefore Bodhidharma said, though I handed down the mind's Dharma, how can Dharma be Dharma? For neither mind nor Dharma can objectively exist. Only thus you'll understand the Dharma that is passed with mind to mind. Do you understand yet? Knowing that in truth not a single thing exists which can be attained. This is called sitting in the Bodhi Mandala. A Bodhi Mandala is a state in which no concepts arise, in which you awaken to the intrinsic voidness of phenomenon, also called the utter voidness of the womb of Tathagatas, the source of all phenomenon. There's never been a single thing. Then where's defiling dust to cling? If you can reach the heart of this, why talk of transcendental bliss? Question. If there's never been a single thing, can we speak of phenomenon as non-existent? Answer. Non-existent is just as wrong as its opposite. Bodhi means having no concept of existence or non-existence. Question. What is the Buddha? Answer. Your mind is Buddha. The Buddha is mind. Mind and Buddha are indivisible. Therefore it is written, that which is mind is the Buddha, and if it is other than mind, it is certainly other than Buddha. Question. If our own mind is the Buddha, how did Bodhidharma transmit his doctrine when he came from India? Answer. When he came from India, he transmitted only mind Buddha. He just pointed to the truth that the minds of all of you have, from the very first, been identical with the Buddha. Okay. He just pointed to the truth that the minds of all of you have, from the very first, been identical with the Buddha, and in no way separate from each other. That is why we call him our patriarch. Whoever has an instant understanding of this truth suddenly transcends the whole hierarchy of saints and adepts belonging to any of the three vehicles. You have always been one with the Buddha, so do not pretend that you can attain to this oneness by various practices. Question. If that is so, what Dharma do all the Buddhas teach when they manifest themselves in the world? Answer. When all the Buddhas manifest themselves in the world, they proclaim nothing but one mind. Thus, Gautama Buddha silently transmitted to Mahakapsaya the doctrine that the one mind, which is the substance of all things, is coexistent with the void and fills the entire world of phenomenon. This is called the law of all the Buddhas. Discuss it as you may, how can you even hope to approach the truth through words? Nor can it be perceived either subjectively or objectively. So full understanding can come to you only through an inexpressible mystery. The approach to what is called the gateway of stillness beyond all activity. If you wish to understand, know that a sudden comprehension comes when the mind has been purged of all clutter of conceptual and discriminatory thought activity. Those who seek the truth by means of intellect and learning only get further and further away from it. Not until your thoughts cease all their branching here and there, not till you abandon all thoughts of seeking for something, not till your mind is motionless as wood or stone, will you be on the right road to the gate. Question. At this very moment, all sorts of erroneous thoughts are constantly flowing through our minds. How can you speak of our having none? Answer. Error has no substance. It is entirely the product of your own thinking. If you know that mind is the Buddha, and that Buddha is fundamentally without error, and that mind is fundamentally without error, whenever thoughts arise, you will be fully convinced that they are responsible for errors. If you could prevent all conceptual movements of thought and still your thinking processes, naturally there would be no error left in you. Therefore it is said, when thoughts arise, then do all things arise. When thoughts vanish, then do all things vanish. And question. At this moment, while erroneous thoughts are arising in my mind, where is the Buddha? I need to go and make sure I keep my page marked so I can write my notes on page numbers. So, where's the Buddha? Well, all these erroneous thoughts are arising in my mind. The answer. At this moment you are conscious of those erroneous thoughts? Well, your consciousness is the Buddha. Perhaps you can understand that. Were you but free of these delusionary mental processes, there would then be no Buddha. And why so? Because when you allow movement of your mind to result in a concept of the Buddha, you are bringing into existence an objective being capable of being enlightened. Similarly, any concept of sentient beings in need of deliverance creates such beings as objects of your thoughts. All intellectual processes and movements of thought result from your concepts. If you were to refrain from conceptualizing altogether, where could the Buddha continue to exist? You're in the same predicament as Manjushri, who, as soon as he permitted himself to conceive of the Buddha as an objective entity, was dwarfed and hemmed in on all sides by those two mountains. Question. Some of my pages. Water. Question. Well, at the moment of enlightenment, where's the Buddha? Answer. Whence does your question proceed? Whence does your consciousness arise? When speech is silence, all movement is stilled. Every sight and every sound vanished. Then is the Buddha's work of deliverance truly going forward. Then, where will you seek the Buddha? You cannot place a head upon your head, or lips upon your lips. Rather, you should just refrain from every kind of dualistic distinction. Hills are hills, water is water, monks are monks, laymen are laymen. But these mountains, these rivers, the whole world itself, together with the sun, moon, and stars, not one of them exists outside of your minds. The vast chillicosm exists only within you. So where else can the various categories of phenomenon possibly be found? Outside mind there is nothing. The green hills which everywhere meet your gaze, that void sky that you see glistening above the earth, not a hair's breadth of any of them exists outside the concepts you have formed for yourselves. So it is that every single sight and sound is but the Buddha's eye of wisdom. Phenomena do not arise independently, but rely upon environment. And it is their appearing as objects which necessitates all sorts of individualized knowledge. You may talk the whole day through, yet what has been said? You may listen from dusk till dawn, yet what will you have heard? Thus, though Gautama Buddha preached for 49 years, in truth, no word was spoken. Question. Assuming all this is so, what particular state is connoted by the word Bodhi? Answer. Bodhi is no state. The Buddha did not attain it. Sentient beings do not lack it. It cannot be reached with the body nor sought with the mind. All sentient beings are already of one form with the Bodhi. Question. But how does one attain to the Bodhi mind? Answer. Bodhi is not something to be attained. If at this very moment you could conceive yourselves, could convince yourselves of its unattainability, being certain indeed that nothing at all can ever be attained, you would already be Bodhi-minded, since Bodhi is not a state. It is nothing for you to attain. And therefore it is written of Gautama Buddha, while I was yet in the realm of Dipamkara Buddha, there was not a grain of anything to be attained by me. It was then that Dipamkara Buddha made his prophecy that I, too, should become a Buddha. If you know positively that all sentient beings are already one with Bodhi, you will cease thinking of Bodhi as something to be attained. You may recently have heard others talking about this attaining of the Bodhi mind, but this may be called an intellectual way of driving the Buddha away. For by following this method, you only appear to achieve Buddhahood. Appear to. If you were to spend eon upon eon in that way, you would only achieve the Sambodhikaya and Nirmanakaya. What connection would all that have to do with your original and real Buddha nature? Therefore it is written, seeking outside for a Buddha, possessed of form, has nothing to do with you. Questions. If we've always been one with the Buddha, the Absolute, why are there nevertheless beings who come into existence through the 4 kinds of birth and into the 6 states of existence, each with the characteristic form and appearance of its kind? Answer. The essential Buddha substance is a perfect whole, without superfluity or lack. It permeates the 6 states of existence and yet is everywhere perfectly whole. Thus, every single one of the myriad of phenomenon in the universe is the Buddha, is the Absolute. This substance may be likened to a quantity of quicksilver, which being scattered in all directions, everywhere reforms into perfect wholes. When dispersed, it is of one piece, the one comprising of the whole and the whole comprising the one. The various forms and appearances, on the other hand, may be likened to dwellings. Just as one abandons a stable in favor of a house, so one exchanges a physical body for a heavenly body, and so on up to the planes of Pratyeka Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Buddhas. All alike are things sought by you or abandoned by you, hence the differences between them. How is it possible that the original and essential nature of the universe should be subject to this differentiation? Question. How did the Buddhists, out of their vast mercy and compassion, preach the Dharma, the law, to sentient beings? Answer. We speak of their mercy and compassion as vast just because it is beyond causality. It is therefore infinite. By mercy, what is really meant? It is really meant not conceiving of the Buddha to be enlightened, while compassion really means not conceiving of sentient beings as to be delivered. In reality, their Dharma is neither preached in words nor otherwise signified, and those who listen neither hear nor attain. It is as though an imaginary teacher had preached to imaginary people. As regards all these dharmas, these teachings, if, for the sake of the way, I speak to you from my deeper knowledge and lead you forward, you will certainly be able to understand what I say. And, as to mercy and compassion, if for your sakes I take to thinking things out and studying other people's concepts, in neither case will you have reached a true perception of the real nature of your own mind from within yourselves. So in the end, these things will be of no help at all. Even my videos. Me. Question. What is the meaning of zealous application? Answer. The most completely successful form of zealous application is the absence from your minds of all such distinctions as my body, my mind. As soon as you begin to seek for something outside your own mind, you are like Kilaraja, bent on hunting. When you prevent your minds from going on travels outside of themselves, you are already Kshanti Rishi, no bodies and no minds. That is the way of the Buddhas. Question. If I follow this way and refrain from intellectual processes and conceptual thinking, shall I be certain of attaining the goal? Answer. Such non-intellection is following the way. Why this talk of attaining and not attaining? The matter is thus. By thinking of something, you create an entity, and by thinking of nothing, you create another. Let such erroneous thinking perish utterly. Then nothing will remain for you to go seeking. Question? What is meant by transcending the three worlds of desire, form, and formlessness? Answer. Transcending the three worlds connotes a rising beyond the dualism of good and evil. Buddhas appear in the world to make an end of desire, of form, and of formless phenomenon. For you also, the three worlds will vanish if you can reach the state beyond thought. On the other hand, if you still cling to the notion that something, even if it be as small as a 100th part of a grain, something might exist objectively, then even a perfect mastery of the entire Mahayana canon will fail to give you victory over the three worlds. I'm going to have to look at that for a little while. Like literally nothing, absolutely nothing. Not the keyboard, nothing. You mean like everything, man? Only when every one of those tiny fragments is seen to be nothing can the Mahayana achieve this victory for you. Up on my time. So I will stop after this tiny one. 25 on the wailing record. One day, after taking his seat in the great hall, the master began as follows. Since mind is the Buddha, absolute, it embraces all things. From the Buddhas, enlightened beings, at one extreme to the meanest of the belly-crawling reptiles or insects at the other, all these alike share the Buddha nature. And all of these are of the substance of the one mind. So, after his arrival from the West, Bodhidharma transmitted not but the Dharma of the one mind. He pointed directly to the truth that all sentient beings have always been of one substance with the Buddhas. He did not follow any of those mistaken methods of attainment, and if you could only achieve this comprehension of your own mind, thereby discovering your real nature, there would assuredly be nothing for you to seek either. Amen. Come back for the next installment.